Unbelievable. As Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he had his best game offensively, 35 points, 8 assists. How about A.J. Mitchell, a career high 28. And Chet, he came on strong late, 16 and 9, was great defensively. And look, the Lakers, they almost had a near perfect game, right? Reeves goes for 27, Hachimura goes for 25, James for 24 and 12, Jackson Hayes with 18, but it still ends in a loss in their season ending at home. Time now to bring in CBS Sports NBA analyst John Gonzalez. And John, the Lakers, they played a dang near perfect game, right? You had so many guys stepping up for them. It wasn't just Austin Reeves. It wasn't just LeBron James. Jackson Hayes off the bench, right? Rui Hachimura looking like Japanese Jordan. And then SGA says, listen, I'm an MVP and potentially a two-time MVP for a reason down the stretch. How did the Thunder make it happen when the Lakers seemed like they had a chance to take this into a 5-game series?
Yeah, the Lakers played great tonight. And if you're the Lakers, you're dispirited, right? Because you think this is the night when we're finally going to get one. We're going to beat Oklahoma City for the first time all season, both regular season and the playoffs. And I thought, okay, in the third quarter, I'm thinking Oklahoma City is going to hit that turbo button and it's going to be fine. And they really didn't do that until much later in the fourth quarter. And they barely squeaked this one out. But that's what Oklahoma City is so capable of doing. I mean, they kind of sleptwalked through this series because they could. And SGA, you mentioned, had his best game of this series where he goes for 35 and 8 assists, super efficient. Does what he did late, which is, hey, this game is getting away from us a little bit. I'm going to get to the free throw line. I'm going to slow it down. I want to make my free throws. Chet Holmgren, who I didn't think had a very good game, he had a big dunk late. Isaiah Hartenstein, I didn't think he had a very big game. We had a big rebound late on that LeBron miss, and he had the assist on the Chet dunk. And this is how they do it, right? They just, like, these guys, they can flip that switch when they need to, and they all did that tonight. And then you also mentioned A.J. Mitchell, and this just speaks to the Thunder's incredible depth, where he goes for 28 points tonight. He was their most consistent offensive player. Super efficient from the field, played great defense. They can just come at you in waves. They throw McCain out there. He goes for 13 points in 16 minutes. Alex Caruso comes up with some big defensive plays. And on a night when the Lakers, as you mentioned, played their best game of the series by far, Oklahoma City just played a game, right? They were just kind of out there and they won it. And that's the difference between Oklahoma City and the Lakers.
Does it even surprise you? What does it say about Mark Daigneault to get his players, specifically the role players like A.J. Mitchell, right, like Jared McCain, ready for these moments where they don't flinch? It's almost as if, like, they know when the moment comes and everybody's focused on SGA and Chet, that when they have the rock, they have no fear in their eyes. They're going to let it fly.
Yeah, I mean, they're so deep, they're so talented. And this is what I'm saying, when they're big guys, it was almost like in this series, we were talking about this in Slack, it's almost like their main players, like SGA didn't take the series off, but he wasn't SGA. He wasn't the reigning MVP, probably two-time MVP, reigning finals MVP. He didn't look like that until tonight. And this was just, like, by his standards, a pretty good game, but not like a really top-tier game. Chet Holmgren, again, he was just kind of out there until really late in the fourth quarter. Hartenstein, same thing. He came up big when they needed him to. But these other guys like A.J. Mitchell, McCain, Alex Caruso, Kason Wallace played good defense, as did Lou Dort. They don't really show up in the box score, but these are the guys who make the Thunder so difficult to beat, where your top tier players, they didn't even have Jalen Williams for this entire series, and it didn't matter because Oklahoma still ends up walking to a sweep and advancing again to the Western Conference Finals without their best players playing their best games, because all those supporting cast players, where you see these other teams like the Lakers, who aren't deep teams, really need huge performances from their best guys. Oklahoma City can say, well, you know what? We have redundancy on redundancy on redundancy, and you have to be perfect, and we don't, and we can still beat you.
It's sickening, right? If you're an opponent of OKC. Yeah. Now, I know LeBron is going to be sick, right? He missed that potential layup, right, to put them ahead down the stretch. This is year 23 for him, John. And now there's a question whether maybe not it's end of his time with the Lakers, but potentially altogether. How do you foresee his future? Do you feel like we may have witnessed his final game as an NBA player, or are you expecting him to still play next year and maybe not in a Lakers uniform?
Yeah, I'm expecting him to play next year. I mean, I would be shocked if this is how LeBron goes out. We saw what a good, he played 60 games. His all NBA streak got snapped, but he still played in the All-Star game. And then he goes into the postseason and he doesn't have Luka Doncic to start against the Rockets, and he doesn't have Austin Reeves for much of it. And a lot of people, including myself, thought that, okay, they're going to lose that series. And instead, LeBron played great basketball and helps them advance to the next round. And again, tonight, he misses that final shot, but still a great performance from LeBron where he goes for a double-double. He still has so much to offer at 41 years old. And then beyond that, Chris, as we are recording this here, it's late on the East Coast, right? It's early morning, Tuesday morning, and he just got off of a series where he gets swept by Oklahoma City, and nobody's paying attention on the East Coast, and it was on a streamer. Do we really think that's how LeBron's going out? I don't think so, man. Like, this is a guy who, he's not going to pull a Tim Duncan and just fade into obscurity. This is LeBron James we're talking about. He's going to need some pomp and circumstance and pageantry to say goodbye. So my expectation is that he comes back. I still think he's a good fit with the Lakers. He would have to take a massive pay cut, no doubt about it, but he's proven he still has a lot to offer, and he has considerable value. Now, if it's not with the Lakers, regardless of who he plays for, if he goes to Cleveland or somebody else, or he's ring chasing or whatever, he's still going to have to take a massive pay cut. Nobody's going to pay LeBron, who's going to be 42 years old next year, even though he's great, and even though he's a big box office draw, nobody's going to pay him top dollar, because this is going to be the end of his career sooner than later. I just expect he's going to want that Kobe Bryant farewell. It's not going to be, in the early morning hours on a Tuesday where he says goodbye randomly.
Hey, yeah, I mean, everything you point to, it leads me to believe that, yeah, he'll come back for another year. You brought up discounts, right? And Dwayne Wade said on the broadcast, LeBron, that's not a guy who is known for taking discounts. So when you think about the Lakers' future overall, they weren't considered a championship team even with Luka, Austin, and LeBron, because as you pointed out, other people pointed out, they were just so top-heavy. So what does their offseason look like? Because, again, John, they have to pay Austin Reeves, because he's going to be asking for top dollar as well.
Yeah, it's a critical offseason for them, right? And it's not just the LeBron decision. And by the way, watch LeBron go ahead and then sneak retire. So just go ahead and save this clip for when that happens. Everybody can run it back and say that I was wrong. But it's going to be a critical offseason for the Lakers regardless, where you're right. Austin Reeves has that player option. He's almost certainly going to decline that and get a big payday. But this is something the Lakers were planning for moving forward, right? Like where last year, LeBron James wanted a new contract, wanted an extension, one final multi-year deal from the Lakers. And the Lakers said, we really appreciate your service, but no thank you. We can't do that with a 41-year-old, especially when we're going to have to pay Austin Reeves. And the whole idea about the Lakers over the last couple of years was basically clearing the decks. They knew that LeBron's going to move on sooner rather than later, whether he retires or he moves on to another team. But if they do bring him back, it's going to be at a reduced salary, because as we've talked about, this team is paper thin beyond those three guys. So even if you bring LeBron back at a lower number, you got to pay Austin Reeves more. So whatever money you save on LeBron, that's got to go to bolstering this roster and building around the main two guys who are going to be here moving forward, regardless of what LeBron does. They have to get those guys some help, because as you mentioned, they're not a championship contender. They're not a contender in the West, even though they had a good season and they overachieved and they finished fourth and they almost won a game against Oklahoma City and got out of the first round for the first time in a couple years. They need to build that roster up.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob Pelinka, you have your work cut out for you, and I know Lakers fans are going to be on his neck every single day of the offseason as LeBron James is swept for the fourth time in his postseason career. John Gonzalez, always appreciate the insight, man. Take care. So listen, LeBron, wherever you have him on your rankings as all-time greats, he's up there, okay? Look at seasons, 1. Games played, 1. Minutes, you get the point. Points, all-time points leader. And, for assists, he's only 4th. What a disaster, right? LeBron James, one of the greatest players that we have ever seen. And those stats right there just tell you a little bit